It's time for the first video of the Brothers LeSwah Project, and the first assignment is In Flames, Sense of Purpose. When I first bought the album, I had already heard The Mirror's Truth, I Am the Highway, and March to the Shore when the band put all the songs on MySpace. And I had to say, from those three songs, I was expecting a pretty amazing album, and I was not let down. The album opens with The Mirror's Truth, which I had already heard many times before buying the album on YouTube and on the band's MySpace, so I had already become very familiar with the song. Although I still appreciated it with the album as a whole, I find it's a very good introductory track to most of the sounds you'll be hearing on the album. Following The Mirror's Truth is Disconnected. When I was first listening to the album, I thought my CD player was on repeat, because the first couple seconds of the guitar sound very similar to the beginning of The Mirror's Truth. I find the double voice gives it a more grand and positive feel. At one point when he goes "Go, March" in the really deep voice, I find that's a very effective touch. Always liked it when heavy metal bands or whatever add that into their music just for a little bit. Like, I couldn't listen to a whole song in that vocal style. Cookie Monster vocal style, I believe is what it's called. It was good to see the old soloing style. It sounded very reminiscent of pre-Root to Remain. I find the solo also blended well with the light chorus in contrast to the more aggressive sound. And I love how it ends. It just all sort of falls apart. The guitars stop abruptly, and then the drums just kind of hit a few times before the static or rain. Third on the album is Sleepless Again. The verses sounded classic In Flames-ish. After the classic In Flames verses, they kind of jump back to their new, grand, positive sounding choruses. I found the dreamy backing guitar in the chorus, and sometimes just in the middle of a verse, very effective. It gives it a surreal touch. This is a song that deals with lost identity, as most of the album deals with. Alias. The lyrics give hints that Anders wants to be numb to his surroundings and just sort of let people tell the blunter, more honest sides of things to his ghost. The dragging music seems as though it emphasizes the vocals, because with other songs the guitar kind of changes and it's just kind of like crazy and experimental. With this, it's sort of the same thing over and over, not depreciating it or anything. It lets the vocals be heard a lot better. I Am the Highway. This could potentially be my favorite song on the album. If not my favorite song, my second favorite song. The riff at the beginning completely blew me away. When I first heard it on MySpace, I was just like, I listened to it at least 3 times in a row because it was so good. And then as soon as the rest of the band kicks in, it completes it. It sounds pretty positive. I take it in a positive way. It's like really rough and empowering. It's sort of like they wanted to make just a feel-good song. The ending is sort of reminiscent to old In Flames again. I'm not sure how exactly, but if you take a close listen, maybe you can agree with what I'm saying. Delight and Angers. It's similar to the way I Am the Highway finishes. Once again, the repetitive guitars and the repetitive music give vocal emphasis. There's no real transition from verse to chorus, which kind of threw me off. The bridge is potentially the best part of the song. This song could potentially be the least complete of the album, like sort of just thrown together. Move Through Me. You're reminding me of Leeches off of Come Clarity. It's a dark, powerful, epic, mean song. That's aggressive. The keyboards, though, make it a little bit more surreal. Another very great sounding thing, if you ask me, is a distant, crunchy, like where the music just kind of goes into the back and just kind of has that like not so clear feel to it. Along with the line, "This is a call to arms," it really does embody that message. This song is Radiohead inspired, which that's what my brother tells me anyway. That interested me when I was listening to the MySpace, because I had just gotten into Radiohead at that point, and I wanted to hear how In Flames could do that, because I had been listening to In Flames longer than I had been Radiohead. Initially, I liked the riff, but then after a while I was sort of like, where's the rest of the song? You know, I was just waiting for the song to actually start. I find that the album, it's so quick and so fast that it kind of diminishes your patience for slower songs, because this is the first real slow song on the album. But when it begins, when the other instruments come into it, I find that it's refreshing because the song has actually started, but it sounds really amazing. The vocals at first kind of startled me, but then I was like, oh, no, this sounds good, because it's a human being singing this song, concentrating on a message rather than his technique, which I find is important in all of music. Make it sound good, but also just concentrate on the message as well. Like if Tony Kakko or the guy from Dream Theater was singing this song, it wouldn't feel as legitimate. The roughness of the song kind of makes it seem more of a story and more true. The overall image I get from this is either like at the bottom of the ocean, or in space, or on death row. Some kind of isolation where you're just in a really sucky situation. Like the big, just guitar solo type thing. How that just kind of randomly shows up. It actually works in this song. Same with how it just ends abruptly. The piano and the violins are a nice touch to the song. The final part of the song feels like the character found escape or forgiveness, some kind of solace. Sober and irrelevant. It's a very sharp return to the album. Once again, it deals with lost identity or sameness. The short-lived distant solo was good. This song, I don't know. It was just, I think it was there was no transition. They should have possibly done a more draggy song rather than just like a sharp return like this. You're still listening to In Flames. Though one good point of the song was when he goes, "Happiness, please come home," and the Cookie Monster vocal double voice. I liked that. Once again, I found the bridge was the most important part of the song. It kind of gave a meaning to the song. Condemned. This is a creepy, dark and epic song again. Once again, they forgot to transition. I liked the chorus a lot, and I liked the verse a lot, but you almost had to forgive how it just dives into it. The choppy pre-solo guitar part is I love that. I like how Anders takes the time to rewrite the chorus the final time. Drenched in Fear. This was one confusing song the first time I heard it. It's so intense, and some parts it sounds like a shot back to I Am the Highway. It seems as though Anders, his lyrics become darker in the final two songs of the album. When the whole "how does it feel" rant comes along, I was just confused. I was really confused. It was just really bizarre, and I wanted it to be the chorus because it sounded so good, and so out of place, and so crazy that it just worked. The chorus seems lighter, softer, cleaner. I like how you think it's almost over and then it just kicks back up again. The final choruses are very epic sounding because they slightly change something. March to the Shore. Hands down, my favorite song. Forget I Am the Highway. March to the Shore is the best song on the album. The opening sound after the initial intro is just so brilliant. It's so powerful. It's so empowering. It's a very chaotic song, which is weird because I'm mostly into, at the moment, Sea Bear and Björk. Basically, what I get from this song, the words I could best describe the feeling would be living in a world where you're constantly living in fear of being stabbed, killed, or shot. It's one of those something horrible like that, but being comfortable in that situation and knowing how to survive. That's what this song feels like to me. The slower chorus with a sharp return and a sharp jump to the chorus work for this song just because it's so crazy. It feels so unorganized but so perfect because of it. The solo is amazing. It's like a duet of guitars because it's two different solos going at once, playing two very different things. I'm sure it's been heard in other songs, but this was probably the first one I can think of, at the moment anyway, that did this, and it sounded so perfect, so amazing. I loved it. The weird bubbly effects at the end of it add a nice feel to the end of the album. I love how it ends just kind of so abruptly, like it's just one fast song and then it's over. There's no like little outro, there's no fade out. It's just kind of like doom, over. And being told that you are a killer is always interesting.